Can I ask you a question that sounds really simple? Who are you? I don't want you to run down your resume. I'm not looking for your job title. And don't tell me that you're somebody's mom or wife or sister or you're a business owner or you're an executive. And telling me what you do for everyone else is not what I'm looking for either. The question is, who are you? It's a much harder question than it sounds, right? Because some of us can tell you right now where everybody in our family needs to be this week. We can tell you what's happening at work and what's due next month. But ask us what we want for dinner tonight, and we're staring like a deer in headlights and need about 3 to 5 business days to get back to you. But in all seriousness, I think there comes a point in many high achieving women lives where we realize we become incredibly good at knowing what everyone else needs. And surprisingly, we become so disconnected from ourselves that we can't even answer the simplest question about what we want. If you haven't met me before, I'm Shwanda Buchanan. I'm the founder of Centered Courage. And every week we get together and have conversations for high achieving women about seeing ourselves, how we lead, how we live, and what it means to come home to ourselves. And today's conversation may be one of the most important ones we've had because before you can come home to yourself, you have to begin to remember who lives there. I don't think most women intentionally decide to disconnect from themselves. Like they don't wake up one morning and say, you know what, I'm going to disconnect from me. It's not how that happened. And many of them don't even realize they've disconnected from themselves in the first place. It happens as life happens. It happens as her career grows, her families change, responsibilities increase, people begin depending on her, right? And so you become what's required of you in that season. You're making all the decisions at work and in your business, so you're the leader. You're the provider, you're the fixer, you're the dependable one. And here's the thing, none of those roles are inherently bad. Many of them may be parts of who you are and that you value those very deeply. The problem comes in when those roles become so dominant that the woman underneath them is hidden and forgotten. There's a difference between the roles you fulfill and the woman you really are. And sometimes we haven't checked in with her and that woman in forever. And there's another part of the conversation I think we don't talk about enough. And sometimes that reason that you don't know what you want anymore isn't because you've lost yourself, you've changed. The woman that you were at 30 may not be the woman watching today. Your definition of success may have changed. What you're willing to tolerate may have changed. What matters to you may have changed. Your family dynamics may be different now. Your dreams may have changed. And guess what? All that's okay. Sometimes we're trying to reconnect with the version of ourselves that we've outgrown, when in actuality, we're being invited to reacquaint ourselves with the woman before she started reshaping herself around expectations and roles. Mhm. Coming home to yourself doesn't mean discovering who you are. It means reclaiming and returning to your true essence. The woman that isn't performing, proving, or pleasing. This brings me to another question that can be surprisingly uncomfortable for high achieving women. That question is, what do you want? I'm not asking what should you want or what you can fit around everyone else's needs, but I'm asking, what do you want? For some women, you can answer that question quickly. And I love that for you, sis. But for others, you really don't know the answer. And that's okay too. Sometimes when you spent years making decisions based off responsibility and obligation and expectations, your desire becomes a language that you don't speak often. It's not that you don't have desires, it's just simply you just don't ask the question of yourself enough. And that's not a problem. You just have to learn how to reconnect with your wants and your desires. And reconnecting with yourself doesn't have to start with something huge or big like quitting your job or moving across the country or completely changing your life. Now, I don't want you going, quitting your job or resigning tomorrow or closing your business and then telling everybody that I told you to do that. No, ma'am, that's not what we're doing. Not at all. Drastic measures aren't necessary to reconnect with yourself. You can take small steps. Start by being curious about yourself again. Ask yourself, what do you enjoy? What energizes you? Maybe you used to have a hobby that you stopped. What did you used to do that you now miss? What do you want more of? What do you want less of? You see, your preferences are information, the small clues pointing back towards yourself. It may also be your values may be asking for your attention. You may be feeling dissatisfied in your life, and that's not always because your life is bad. Your life simply may be out of alignment with who you've become, right? You can have a job and realize that you value freedom more than you used to. You can love your family and come to the realization that you need more space for yourself. And nothing's wrong with that. You can be successful and realize that your peace is more important to you than proving yourself. You can appreciate everything you built and still desire something different. Those things can coexist. Because being grateful for the life that you built doesn't require you to stop desiring the life that's calling out to you, that's calling you forward. It doesn't. You can still have both. We've talked a lot in these conversations over the past couple of weeks about what women carry. But I also want us to talk about what makes us feel alive. And I want to ask you some questions. What do you do that causes you to lose track of time? When do you feel free? Where do you feel free? What did you love before everything became about responsibility? What would you try if you didn't have to be good at it? I'll answer that one. I'd be an artist. I draw because I don't have to be good at it because I'm not right now. It seems to me that too many high achieving women have replaced joy with accomplishment. But joy doesn't have to justify its place in your life by being productive. You're allowed to enjoy something simply because it makes you feel alive. Just a reminder, sis. Meeting that woman beneath the performance isn't only about remembering who you've been, it's also about becoming curious about who you're becoming. Tune into yourself and notice how you live, how you make decisions. What do you no longer tolerate? It's also important for you to recognize how you relate to yourself, how you speak to yourself, because that's very key. What do you believe you deserve? Your beliefs are also essential. How do you want to feel in your own life? Not how you are expected to feel or not how you feel in relation to everybody else who's in your life, but how do you want to feel in your own life? To reclaim that woman who's buried beneath all the noise, you really just need enough honesty with yourself to begin recognizing when something feels like you and when something doesn't anymore. And that requires you to pay attention now to yourself. and not be so distracted with everything and everyone else that you're tending to. It's turning inwards towards yourself. And sometimes that may be a little challenging for some women, but it's very possible. Very possible. Can I leave you with something to think about? Who are you when no one needs anything from you? Who are you when no one needs anything from you? And what does that woman want more of in this season of her life? Things to think about. And of course, feel free to write down your answers in your journal or your notebook once you spend time with those questions. So, for our courage practice this week, I want you to meet yourself again. So, I want you to take 15 minutes at some point this week, whatever works for you. Grab your journal, your notebook. At the top of the page, I want you to write, "Who am I now?" And on that page, underneath that title, I want you to think through some of these questions or these statements that I'm going to mention to you. I feel alive when, and I want you to fill in the blank. I want more, fill in the blank. I'm ready to stop, fill in the blank. Woman, I'm becoming, got it, fill in the blank. Now, listen, don't make your answers so impressive and so formal. That's not what this is about. Make them honest, okay? No one else is going to be reading this. This is something for you. It's a conversation between you and you. So be honest, okay? Before we leave each other today, I want you to carry one thought with you this week. You haven't disappeared. You may simply just need to become reacquainted with yourself. That woman beneath the performance is still there. She is. And maybe she's not asking you to completely uproot and change your life. Maybe she's simply asking you to start listening to her again. Okay. Today's conversation made you curious about the woman you're becoming. I'd love for you to come back next Sunday. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel and follow wherever you're watching so you don't miss our next conversation. Until next Sunday, choose yourself with courage, lead from your center, and keep coming home to yourself. Talk to you later.